Tony carried a million gene heavy sword on his back every day, and today was his first time trying to cut falling leaves with it. But after using every ounce of strength to swing the massive sword, he only managed to slice 4 leaves, making him dead last among all contestants. Everyone laughed at his swordsmanship. Even Tony began to doubt himself, but only his master watching from afar sensed something was off. He realized the sword he gave Tony was meant to be the 10,000 gene iron sword for training, but by mistake, he had given him the million gene heavy sword. What they didn't know was that Tony was born with the legendary sword body. In just 5 years, he had reached the peak of swordsmanship, a realm his master took 20 years to achieve. In a few days, the fate-deciding sword tournament would begin. This was his only chance to turn his life around. Before leaving the mountain, his master gave him the heavy sword to help his training, with the condition that Tony must carry it on his back at all times. But his drunken master had given him the wrong sword. What was meant to be a shining entrance turned into a public humiliation on the arena stage. Fortunately, the tournament had 3 rounds, and as long as he didn't place last in the remaining 2, he still had hope. This tournament was hosted by the Sword Saint Palace. The winner would become the Palace Master's disciple, an honor countless noble heirs dreamed of. But Tony, a man with humble origins, fought not just for victory, but for dignity and status. Soon the second round began. The elder personally stepped in, summoning 9 swords to suppress the stage. He announced that whoever lasted the longest would advance. The first to go was the eldest son of a noble family. Using brute force, he lasted 2 incense sticks time. Next was the younger son, who displayed incredible skill, and cut down all 9 swords after 3 incense sticks. Then came the favored young lord. This time he was even more dazzling. With one strike, he shattered all 9 swords, reaching the peak level of mastery. The crowd erupted in amazement. The family patriarch couldn't sit still anymore. He demanded Tony withdraw, to avoid embarrassing the family. But Tony ignored him, and walked onto the stage with the heavy sword on his back. The moment he raised the sword, his body began to sway. In the end, he couldn't withstand the 9 swords, and once again placed last. The young lord easily took first again, but as the elder helped Tony up, he felt the flow of energy through Tony's meridians, and realized Tony shouldn't have been so weak. He began to suspect the problem lay with the sword itself. Then came the final round, live combat. A different family had suddenly proposed that his son defend the stage alone. Against all challengers, chaos broke out in the crowd. The young lord arrogantly declared that fighting one-on-one was a waste of time, and challenged everyone to attack him together. No one dared step up, so he charged toward the contestants himself. But just then, Tony's million gene heavy sword finally began to show its effect. The young lord was visibly shaken. Tony loosened the sword from his back, and felt a sudden surge of unprecedented lightness. Though he held no sword, he casually summoned a tree branch into his hand, and aimed it at those who had bullied him before. But standing up to them only made them angrier. They shouted to join forces and take Tony down. With no other choice, Tony unleashed his signature sword technique,